The largest wealth transfer in history is here, and at present it is measured in numbers. An almost $100 trillion opportunity that we will never have the chance to seize again in our lifetime. How to benefit from this historical wealth transfer? Has the power to change your life forever? You can and will find out in today's video.
Benjamin, what's the deal with the big wealth transfer? Where does the money flow? And where it flows more or less out of the pockets of us ordinary citizens, we all notice it at the end of the day together.
Right, Hannes. And that's why we're discussing two questions today that we will answer for you in this video. Firstly, what is a wealth transfer? And secondly, and more importantly, how can you benefit from this wealth transfer? And how can you finally get financially on your feet so that you are finally financially free? We have listed 6 possibilities today on how we can implement the whole thing immediately now. After this video, however, we start with step 1. What is a wealth transfer? And currently, the majority of the money is with the so-called baby boomers. In the baby boomer generation, which is the generation that built everything after World War II, these are also the people who currently own all the big companies worldwide and still hold positions in politics globally. Meanwhile, this generation also had chance to purchase stocks inexpensively, but primarily real estate. In the forthcoming years, an astounding 45 million of these properties will be handed down to the subsequent generations that follow. This means baby boomers, millennium generation, and then Generation Z. We are talking about nearly $100 trillion of wealth transfer that will reach the millennial and Generation Z generations. The problem is, and now it will. It's amusing that the majority are in. The next generation, i.e. the millennials and Gen Z, will only see very little of the money, as has always been the case in history. And it's the few financially educated people who will be able to fully exploit this transfer of wealth for themselves and their families. Did you know, e.g., that 3 of 5 football players who retire are completely broke after their career ends? 60 to 65% of all NBA basketball players lose their entire fortune within the first 5 years after the end of their career. Earning well and becoming rich alone, statistically speaking, definitely is not enough to have a financially worry-free life. These numbers are so extreme and so shocking because especially the sports stars and the well-known celebrities of our world earn huge amounts of money, the most of all. But these people should never actually have financial worries, but it also affects these, and even in a very frequent number. That is exactly why we at Investinbest focus on the connection. That means, first of all, we focus on taking action, getting into action, entrepreneurship, mindset, and secondly, how we can invest the earned money profitably, because without profitable investing, the money will be gone sooner or later. The objective, obviously, is not to lose our assets, but instead to maximize and make the most of them in order to pass them on through the generations. Only in this way, in our opinion at least, long-term prosperity is truly possible. Now we arrive at a much more extreme statistic, because a staggering 70% of affluent families end up losing their entire wealth by the subsequent generation. 90% of all affluent families end up losing 90% of their wealth by the time the third generation comes around. This means, for example, up to the millennium generation, where Hannes and I are currently located. Sadly, this is a recurring process because particularly the third generation, now the millennial generation, has totally lost touch with money. And one thinks, well, one has brought prosperity, no need to make an effort, will inherit too much someday, get the house, no need for action. Just take a glance around, and I'm certain that each of you is familiar with plenty of instances of this generation that believes prosperity will endure indefinitely. Sadly, it's the opposite. Like no other generation, millennials must protect this wealth, a crucial responsibility they bear. And if one does not properly protect the assets, but also does not properly manage them, it will be gone in a few years at the latest. This video should reach all individuals and everyone should see it. Now worry about her savings, therefore please share this video with all your friends immediately. It affects all of us equally and it's vital to spread this knowledge to as many people as possible. But now, let's focus on the positive and not dwell on losing, as we should concentrate on the things we can change. Money is never lost. That implies the $100 trillion being transferred now only impact a different population group. And that is precisely this transfer of wealth that will now occur right in front of our eyes in the upcoming years, and actually started with the onset of COVID in 2020. A study by Fidelity Investments found that 88% of millionaires worldwide are self-made, according to their research on the subject. What does that mean? This tells us nothing, that everyone who is not a self-made millionaire does it. Inherited money can also be lost very quickly or simply not managed. And if you really want to build long-term wealth, you naturally have to manage your assets intelligently and acquire knowledge yourself. And now we come to the part of this video where we go over to the practical side and take a look at the 6 practical steps on how to immediately benefit from this gigantic wealth transfer. Step number 1, make sure to set aside 3 to 6 months of financial reserves for your daily life. It's different for each person. The millionaire has to put less aside, and the one who earns little per month naturally has to be more careful, cautious. This naturally takes a lot of pressure off and allows you to decide and think more freely. This is always the first step for someone to get out of the pressure. Secondly, eliminate debts. Car loans, home loans, consumer loans, get rid of them. And the saying, but inflation is coming, you should borrow. Yes, we have indeed witnessed the impact of inflation this year with Cigna Holding. A debt carousel from start to finish. And exactly when inflation rises too much, inflation, which is so sweet for debtors, quickly becomes poison. Third point, invest in stock market. Very important. Tech stocks, commodity stocks, make monthly savings plans, constantly buy more. Fourth point, and perhaps one of the most important points that will be most profitable for the next years. Look at cryptocurrencies. Invest in cryptocurrencies. There is no investment recommendation here, but cryptocurrencies are likely to be the biggest beneficiary of the current wealth transfer. There is no asset class that has benefited more from inflation, as proven, and probably will not benefit either, especially when the next wave of inflation hits the world in the coming years. First and foremost, of course, bloodship cryptos like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and keep 80% of your crypto assets in Bitcoin always, and don't be chased off by any lousy crypto projects. In general, you usually lose money here. To tactically trade cryptos like altcoins and reshuffle, that's trading, but has nothing to do with traditional investing. Step number 5, invest in physical gold and silver and store these precious metals properly. If the monetary system collapses, you don't want third-party risk. No duty-free exemption, no storage at the friendly PM dealer, no storage in the bank safe deposit box. Really with you, and find ways to do so gladly also with us in a personal consultation. And 6th, please invest in education. At Investinbest, we connect things. No action, can't manage money as there's nothing. And without proper money management, I will soon lose the money I have earned once again through my efforts. So the statistics tell us, and please always keep in mind those wealthy families who have lost 90% of all the money they have worked so hard for, up to the 3rd generation. Hence, appeal to all who occasionally comment on our site, I have nothing, so I have nothing to lose. Just get into action, learn to manage your money, because only then long-term prosperity is guaranteed and secured. And that's exactly what we do at Investinbest, Hannes and I. We connect entrepreneurship and mindset with the markets. By doing this, we can build, preserve, and grow generational wealth.
Times of change are times of winners. Times of change are times for doers and times for true entrepreneurs. And real entrepreneurs do not need motivation from the outside, but get motivation from within and make the impossible become possible. And that is precisely what we are called to do. Precisely for this reason, you are also called to be a genuine entrepreneur, a genuine creator of life, and thus not only to rearrange your own stars, but also the stars of entire nations. If we decide together now, we can make anything possible. Thank you, Benjamin, for the 6 points, which can mean success for you in and of themselves. And in that sense, we'll see you on Sunday for a new video.
Let's not forget that the generational cycles, especially in this incredible intergenerational transfer of wealth, will certainly not be sleeping in the coming years.
And we at Investinbest are currently taking advantage of the opportunities in this epochal time.